You begin with a haunting montage of modern life. People swiping through dating apps, influencers flaunting curated lifestyles, Black Friday shoppers stampeding through malls. Each frame screams desire, but behind every glittering image is a sense of emptiness. The voiceover sets the tone. You finally get the thing you crave. The shoes, the partner, the job. For a moment, it's bliss. But then, emptiness. Again. Why is it that no matter what we get, we're still hungry? What if desire is not about having, but about lacking? This isn't a story about how to get what you want. It's about uncovering the truth of why you want it in the first place. And what if, just what if, what you desire was never meant to be fulfilled? What if the very structure of desire ensures that it always escapes us? To explore that, we dive into the roots of psychoanalytic theory. Freud believed desire emerges from repression, from what we're told we can't have. The more something is forbidden, the more it tantalizes. This was clearest in Freud's theory of the Oedipus complex, where the child's desire for the opposite sex parent collides with the law of the father. The child is forced to repress this desire, internalizing the law, and thus the ego is born. But repression doesn't erase the desire. It buries it, intensifies it, makes it foundational. Freud suggested that all human culture, art, morality, even civilization itself, is born from this primal repression. But his successor, Jacques Lacan, took it even further. According to Lacan, man's desire is the desire of the other. What does that mean? It means our desires aren't truly our own. We want what others want. We want to be desired by the other, to occupy a place in their fantasy. Our identity is shaped not by an internal sense of self, but through the mirror of others' expectations. Lacan introduced the concept of the objet petit a, the unattainable thing, that endlessly fuels our longing. It is the object cause of desire, not the object itself, but what it represents: wholeness, completion, a return to some lost paradise. But the paradox is that this object is fundamentally missing. It never really existed to begin with. It's a structural lack around which all desire revolves. Think about it. The emotionally unavailable person becomes more attractive precisely because they withhold. The job we can't get feels more meaningful than the one we already have. The desire intensifies in proportion to its impossibility. But the twist: it's not the object itself we crave, it's the fantasy wrapped around it. The moment we get the object, the fantasy collapses. We are left disappointed, empty, and looking for the next high. Desire, then, is never about satisfaction. It's about pursuit, a pursuit that never ends. This isn't just theory. It's embedded in the oldest stories we know. Mythology becomes our next lens. These ancient tales are not just entertainment. They are encoded maps of human psychology. Pandora, driven by forbidden curiosity, opens the box that unleashes chaos upon the world. Narcissus becomes so enamored with his own reflection that he wastes away, unable to touch the image he desires. These myths teach us that desire is not only powerful, but also dangerous. They warn us of its ability to consume. Consider the golden apple of discord, thrown by Eris at a divine banquet, inscribed with the words, "To the fairest." It triggers a rivalry between goddesses and ultimately the Trojan War. All for an apple, an object that functions not as a fruit, but as a symbol of desire. Think also of Icarus, who in his desire to soar too high, ignores his father's warnings and plummets to his death. Or Orpheus, who cannot resist looking back at Eurydice, thus losing her forever. These stories speak to a core truth. Desire is always in tension with loss. The closer we get to the object, the greater the risk of losing everything. Then comes capitalism, the modern engine of infinite longing. Unlike the myths, which caution us, capitalism encourages endless desire. It doesn't just sell products, it sells lack. From perfume ads that promise seduction to tech gadgets that promise transcendence, everything is designed to whisper, "You're not enough." But you could be. We're taught to always want more, never to arrive. This isn't accidental, it's strategic. The system needs us to remain perpetually dissatisfied. Because a content consumer is a terrible customer. Capitalism has colonized even our imagination. The desire to be more attractive, more productive, more spiritual, more successful, all of it is monetized. It shapes our goals, our identities, our relationships. The more we consume, the more hollow we feel. We become addicts of anticipation. What hooks us isn't the product itself, but the build-up, the thrill of the chase. Capitalism thrives on deferral. It teaches us that happiness is always one purchase away. And yet, no matter how much we consume, the void remains. This hollowness becomes especially potent in our romantic lives. Love is framed as the ultimate fulfillment. From fairy tales to rom-coms, we are sold the idea that there is a soulmate out there who will make us whole. But what if that's just another illusion? Lacan said, "To love is to give what you do not have to someone who does not want it." We don't fall for people. We fall for what they represent. We fall for the story we build around them. This explains why unavailability can be so seductive. It allows the fantasy to remain intact. The person who is always just out of reach becomes a screen onto which we project our deepest longings. But once we get too close, the illusion breaks. The real person, with their flaws and complexities, replaces the fantasy. The honeymoon ends, and we are left wondering, did I ever love them, or just the idea of them? Social media throws this dynamic into overdrive. Platforms like Instagram and TikTok are not neutral tools. They are desire machines, built on mimetic desire. As philosopher René Girard argued, we don't desire in a vacuum. We copy what others want. When an influencer flaunts a lifestyle, a product, a relationship, it isn't just envy, it's imitation. We internalize their desires as our own. The more we scroll, the more our own longing becomes fragmented, hijacked by the desires of others, and algorithms know this. They are designed not just to show us what we want, but to shape what we want. They create feedback loops of desire, reinforcing certain fantasies, aesthetics, and ideals. We become avatars acting out scripts written by metrics. Authentic longing becomes difficult to locate. Even our rebellion can be commodified, turned into a niche market. So here's the question. Can we ever escape this loop? Can desire be reclaimed? Some traditions, like Buddhism, argue that desire is suffering, and the only path to peace is detachment. To want is to suffer. The only liberation is to extinguish desire itself. But is that realistic in a world designed to inflame it? Freud offers an alternative: sublimation. Channeling desire into something higher, not repression, but transformation. Art, philosophy, political action, these become ways to sublimate our longing. Desire doesn't disappear, it is redirected. It becomes creative rather than destructive. James Baldwin captured this beautifully when he said, "The precise role of the artist, then, is to illuminate the darkness, blaze roads through the vast forest." Art, in this sense, becomes a response to lack, not a solution, but a form of truth-telling. And that brings us to the final turn. Maybe the goal isn't to kill desire, but to understand it. Because when we don't understand our longing, it controls us. We chase fantasies, we get caught in loops, but when we pause and ask, why do I want this? Who told me to want this? Something cracks, and in that crack, there's space. space to breathe, space to choose. This is the moment of freedom, not the absence of desire, but the awareness of its source, to witness our own hunger without being consumed by it. You never wanted the thing. You wanted the feeling you thought it would give you. And that's the truth most systems don't want you to know. Because the moment you see the illusion is the moment you're free to step outside it. And from that place, that cracked, open, honest, raw place, you can begin to craft a new story. One where desire is no longer a trap, but a compass. Not something to chase blindly, but something to navigate with wisdom and courage.